Hi again. So our second game today is going to be played between Adam and Robin. It's just starting now, so this is this one, the Chinese battle, and I think whoever wins this, since Alex won the previous one, is going to be the last Chinese player standing here in this tournament. And we have some familiar decks again. So we have this Battle of the Trident, played by Robin. That's we saw that in the previous game, so now we'll see if it's a little bit different or if it's mostly the same stuff. And we have Tyrell White Book, so not going for Tyrell Lion, which is basically a Kingsguard deck. So we're losing a couple of Lannister characters and Clever Feint and some other cards, maybe the Guild Hall, in favor of, I guess. So is there anything from the other factions outside of Lannister and Tyrell that you would want to have with the White Book? Guess we'll see if anything gets played. This time it will hurt a little bit more. This play behest into naval superiority. That makes me think maybe it's identical or very similar at least to the one we saw in the previous game. But again, it's not quite zero because the Arbor is here for a little bit of gold at least. And Robin needs to go first. Well, chooses to go first anyway, so it's just one from the fiefdom, so it's 3-3 in gold here. Yeah, but getting rid of this 9 gold from Late Summer Feast, which is the big economy plot, is really nice. So we have Iron Throne names economy. That's one way to do it. We have this Sword of the Morning, so that's why you definitely want to go first. You can pull characters into a challenge and basically waste them as defenders. Now against White Book, not necessarily going to work every time because they can stand if they win as defenders. And Robin has an alternative to that blood orange grow, so he plays the Rose Road. And Theater Prince, so he's done pretty well with that naval superiority, limited gold, and on the other side we just have the Green Apple Knight, which is not currently turned on, and something will need to be claimed. Now there is a chance to gain more gold with the Skewing Septon, but it's quite questionable whether there is anything. And now Robin's going to go for the pressure immediately. And let's see if he is more inclined to use the agenda triggers than Vodka was in the previous game here, or if it's trying not to do that, this deck, so that the used plots can properly grow. And Skimming Septon is claimed, not Green Apple Knight, so I guess he is going to be needed as an attacker in future rounds. But yeah, against Sword of the Morning, you will need to be going first. That's the one challenge where the agenda can be used because it's a commander attacking. And a good hit, definitely, this House Florent Knight. And not using the agenda here. In the Intrigue Challenge you are limited to Edict plots, which, to be fair, do have a pretty decent selection. Nothing bestowed on the Tattered Prince, so his renown is going to be lost. And now with Naval gone, I guess, going for another one of the economy plots. No, maybe there isn't one more. So he has at the Palace of Sorrows, which is great with that House Florent Knight that was just lost. And we have barring the gates, so no way to bring it out of the discard pile either, which in theory can be done. So some cards that work with House Florent Knight are restricted, podded together, I mean, so that it can't be abused too much, but not the plot. So if you can get it in play when this plot is revealed, you can get rid of anything. And if it's a similar deck to last time, playing stuff like Core Viper, that's a pretty good hit if you can get that, but it's not quite the same because as you see, barring the gates is here and it wasn't in the previous game. And now the situation looking a little bit better here for Adam. We have duped Marjorie as well, which kind of does the same thing as that sword on the other side. Can pull something into a challenge, get rid of it. House Florent Knight goes back to hand to be replayed again, and we have Hightower Knight instead. Still not quite enough to activate the Green Apple Knight. Iron Throne already used to call Hand's Judgment. And here we go, Ricasso going to increase that number of use plots. Just a second, there's the doorbell. Okay, sorry about that. So, what do we have? Cletus coming in, so that makes the fight for initiative a lot more difficult for Tyrell, because Ricasso with his bonus, and we already have the 2 with Behest increasing it again, so that's +4, so anything basically with 5-ish wins initiative, and then in future rounds you can win it with those siege preparations and some ridiculously low numbers as well. And that will be useful because, as we saw, there is a bit of a battle here with effects like Marjorie and Sword of the Morning, which are very useful. Interesting to see Iron Bank will have its due in the deck, so obviously Tyrell line is a bit of a shadows focused deck usually that likes to get some more gold. Not sure if this one has much shadows, maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. We haven't seen the Lannister ones, the Lannister Kingsguards, which are shadow characters, or the Knight of Flowers. but it needs the faction card, so it competes a little bit with that event. Let's see what Marjorie does here. She can pull one of the characters into the intrigue challenge, maybe the military icon or the power icon. So it's not just about the claim you have to suffer, you have to play around these as well, usually. So these two do not have traits, but in the future you need to make sure that you stop something that can hurt you. But it's yeah, I know from my own experience that it's really difficult to anticipate everything. It's 3 separate traits with dozens of plots that can be potentially revealed in the challenges phase, so really difficult to play around everything. But you do need to memorize, I think, and study the key ones at least when playing against this. And especially difficult against Martell, that can get that behest on a challenge where you're not supposed to reveal a certain plot, and then it's revealed anyway. But as you can see, a couple of players in this event going with behest as the opener to immediately increase the number of used plots. And I guess hitting secret schemes on the intrigue is as good as anything here for Adam. Let's see if Robin is equally lucky. Yeah, so Martell has always had some advantage in playing that naval superiority, because behest can first check if it's Late Summer Feast or Pentoshi or something like that, and that's a good one for Robin. He's got 2 of them now with intrigue claim. Yeah, so you have some knowledge whether to switch into naval superiority or not, but I think it's interesting at the moment, because with the Gates band, that was itself, it got hit by naval, but then if it brings the Gates of the Moon, it's not such a great advantage. But now with that plot gone, there's different openers, and Late Summer Feast is popular, as is Pentoshi and the Maiden, which are all hit for the realm as well, but that still gets you the 4 gold from its reduction, I guess. And but it's not guaranteed, because I've seen people open Time of Plenty as well quite a few times recently, and Summer Harvest, I guess, has kind of a weird interaction with naval superiority. It's questionable whether you are ahead in that interaction or not. I guess you are. And then Peace and Prosperity as well. That's probably not a good one to hit. So interesting mini game with the opening plots at the moment. Haven't seen Varys' Riddle much lately. That was always in that little mini game with Pentoshi and Summer Harvest. But now not so much. I guess there's still too much of the Maiden around, which Varys' Riddle doesn't really help with. Now Robin happy to go first, even though he has economy that relies on going second. We've seen a lot of that in Martell recently. I think now it's almost inevitable that Green Apple Knight will be activated, so going second is not so great with that. And here comes Windblown, Army or Mercenary, so yeah, Tattered Prince possibly, that is in shadows. And here is Sword of the Morning back. Can target 3 characters, and yeah, can take some icons preemptively away to clear out the way for anything else. Now, has Adam had some bad luck here? Or is there anything in hand for that 8 gold? There is, okay. High tower knight. And that's fair enough. He knows that the Tattered Prince is in shadows. Maybe it was, if he was going to use that, maybe it was worth bringing out earlier. And now let's see. Ricasso doesn't have the military icon, so he can't pull all of them in. Let's read this carefully again to see. So he will get plus strength for each defending character. And he chooses up to 3 and they must be declared. So pulling the 3 knights into the military challenge would have been nice, but he can still pull 2 of them into a power challenge if he wants to. Fortunately, this non-kneeler still remains, so maybe just pull this guy into the intrigue and Marjorie. And that's a pretty strong. It is costly, to be fair. It is 3 cost. I was just thinking that gaining plus strength on top of this other super efficient effect is a bit much, but yeah, it does cost 3, so fair enough. But it is a very strong attachment if you can use it to its full potential. And that's a good one. So to the spears now he can get rid of everything, I think, because Sword of the Morning doesn't kneel and has no limit. Okay, that's literally useless. Now, do we start with those Duran's games immediately? Let's see. So Secret Skins was discarded and not much was drawn in this game, so unlikely to just have everything immediately. He is forcing these to defend, so they have 6, which increases the strength to 12 for Sword of the Morning. That's still enough to win by 5 if he does have it, and it's immediately 5 power gained because of the Ricasso bonus. Yep. So pretty dream starting hand there. Too bad about that Secret Schemes, really. Would have refilled it really nicely, but let's see. So power is the one, I think, where you can flip into siege preparations. Now can he win it? He only has Ricasso, unfortunately. And he can't take both of these on to win the power challenge. Discards the Knight of Flowers at random. Interesting. Because he had 8 gold and 4 remaining. He marshaled High Tower knight and then left Knight of Flowers in hand. Okay, couldn't marshal him, but just putting him into shadows was an option. Wonder what the idea is. So if you can do another white sword, you can grab it from the discard pile. Okay, so you can go for the military, but Marjorie will be claimed, and Windblown cannot stand anything. And if you do power, it will be currently 3 plus. If you take these two into the challenge, you'll get up to 5, so there would need to be something else, some other strength boost to push that power challenge through. And that's the one that I think Robin needs to flip into siege preparations here. But okay, he can lose on attack here, nil all the characters, win the unopposed military, and still pretty decent. And it all comes down to being able to go first, of course, with that overpowered Sir Clitus. That wouldn't bother me that much if at least he could take Milk of the Poppy, but no attachments except weapon makes it very difficult to control him and his ability. And he himself usually competes with all of those Greyjoy initiative boosts that they get on locations, and often is even above that initiative boost. Currently, as you can see, he is bringing +5 to every plot. So again, we have some connection problems, but even though it's a timed game, it seems unlikely that it would be going to time, because these decks have ways of getting quick power, and even if it goes to time, I think they can agree to just play on because of the interruptions. Now, a Wars deck that has similar mechanics would have something like the Annals of Castle Black, then get secret skins from the discard pile, then Duran's Game replayed, to the Spears replayed. Well, one of them cancelled with the Iron Throne. We've seen that in the past as well. But yeah, lots of ways to replay these. But Trident deck cannot play that. And it doesn't have any draw apart from secret schemes currently available. And one of them is already gone, so it's possible now that Robin might run out of resources. We've seen it in Wars, we've seen it in Knights of the Hollow Hill recently, this basically same Duran's Game playstyle. So interesting with those decks working pretty well that Robin here has decided that Trident is worth a try. Really shows how competitive this agenda really is with Martell. And that line at the bottom that removes the plot from your used pile was specifically basically put on there to stop Martell being too strong with it, because they could get a huge number pretty fast for their host of the Boneways and stuff like that. And then with Galtown, well, not banned really, with the gates banned, so that at the gates into Galtown play is removed, means that there isn't that much of those city plots boosts in the game anymore. So I was thinking, okay, maybe this line was a bit much, but no, Still, Martell is the faction that uses this agenda most efficiently so far. And no problem getting the big numbers with Ricasso. So he's going to force both of them to defend, just to kneel them out. He cannot win unless he has something in hand. Yeah, but it's fair enough. Good challenges phase for sure for him. And with dominance he's up to 8. And now Klitus is not going to lose initiative anymore. Yeah, that to the spears actually was the big one here, because it allowed 2 triggers, so once that is gone, I guess it won't be that impressive, this. And here comes that Knight of Flowers for free. So better deal than putting it in shadows, I guess. Assuming he has he top decks at least something here. And siege preparations revealed the normal way, so slow way of getting some cards in the dominance phase, as opposed to flipping into that in the challenges. Still pretty decent though. He has the gold to put into play whatever was top decked, and then he refills his hand. In theory this time there is some stand after Sword of the Morning is done with its thing, if the Knight of Flowers can put something into play through shadows, but yeah, relying on a top deck here, and this time that Tattered Prince comes in. Learned his lesson from the last time, I guess, when the Iron Throne called the Tattered Prince in the challenges phase. And that's a good top deck. Yeah, having this Sword of the Morning on a character with a military icon would have been really nice here. Kneel out 3. Now he has to do it on the power, which makes it difficult for him to win. And Intrigue can grab 3, I guess, Marjorie, Jamie and the non-kneeler, so maybe go for that first. And pretty sad. Iron Throne now still standing, and nothing to call really in dominance either. Okay, so if he pulls all 3 of them into the challenge, that would be 12. Ricasso would get plus 3. So he would need to put in 6 more, I guess, if he wanted to win as well. Or he could just go for it and not worry about winning. So he switched to the power one now. He's going to get rid of the power icons. Guessing Marjorie, Knight of Flowers and one of the High Tower Knights. Both High Tower Knights, in fact. Yeah, the faction card is still standing, of course, so needs to play around that. you can stand each defending Kingsguard character if you win on defense, so you can do fake challenges with the Knight of Flowers involved or Jamie. And this is probably the time to use that. Stand the Knight of Flowers, get some renown in the process. And all in all, Adam has survived this one pretty well. Still has a non-kneeling character and a decent strength to try to push something through. And let's see, he's going to lose anyway. I was thinking if Windblown could be used to escape here, but no. He would need to stand. Actually, he could. There is no army or mercenary on the other side, so he could trigger and then not stand anything. Okay, here comes the comeback. Now missing that power icon, at least, which is one good thing here for Robin. Up to 9 now with renown on defense, and we'll see probably Jamie now attacking alone so that he can gain renown himself. So should be 9-7 on dominance. Yeah, no power icons. So going for military. And just Jamie should be strong enough. Each participating Kingsguard character you control instead if you control a king or queen character. So he does control a queen character, Marjorie. Wonder if there is something else. Renly is an option, obviously. Actually, there isn't that much renown. They gain renown if they attack alone. So you can't currently with this part really do a big challenge and then stand everything and gain a bunch of renown. And now it becomes interesting. So already Robin is ahead and has the hand advantage now as well. Huge economy. Yeah, looking forward to that Mad King's command plot that is coming up in the next pack, that makes you choose 3 cards of each card type in play and then 3 cards in hand or shadows that you control. It works against big boards, gets rid of the locations, and then if decks really draw like crazy, like Martell can do, brings that down to 3 as well, and it happens at the beginning of the challenges phase. So it's really levels the board state, which is nice for either for decks that go behind in some way, or for decks that have such a great combination of those card types that they can get more advantage from it than the opponent can. So looking forward to seeing what that does in practice. Took a while for the Stranger to really start shining, but now we see it quite a lot, so I think it might be similar with Mad King's Command. Lots of economy, as you can see, on both sides, calling the banners, and then we have fallen from favor. Of course, Robin still ahead with that annoying Clitus. He was going to win the initiative anyway this round, but can't see him losing it with Clitus. And now he is one Doran's game away from winning the game. But unlike some games, hasn't drawn most of his deck, so no guarantees. Although Core Viper would be just as good. Clearly not exactly the same deck as the previous game, so might not be playing that. Dawn on the Escort, which is handy because he has the trait. So that's some Intimidate. You can use Sword of the Morning to get rid of 3 defenders and then Intimidate for another one, and here comes more Intimidate. 1 per challenge, so you need to play around that a little bit as well. And 1 gold left, which basically forces the Iron Throne to call Doran's game. Okay, this time there is stand for the Knight of Flowers, which is nice. And we have Cerberon Swan with Renown as well. So again, it's a good position for Robin, but has the same problem of the White Book's reaction. He cannot afford to lose and have everyone stand after he has used Sword of the Morning. So to the Spears, you kind of want to do 2 Ricassos, I guess, because he has that attachment, but the stronger challenge is the military here, which Ricasso cannot join in. I guess Intrigue first does have all the icons, and it has the Intimidate. So this one he will win. He can get rid of Jamie and Marjorie and intimidate someone else. just the one renown, but he can get 2 challenges with him. And intimidates the Knight of Flowers. So would expect him to stand with this card, whatever it is. But after everything else is intimidated, it's doubtful whether he can do anything at that point. Let's see. So that's the challenge where Ricasso can trigger, that's why it's power next. And this one comes with Intimidate as well. Now if you force all 3 to defend, let's see what the situation is. So we have 16 and 3 defenders would be 19 against 12. If a Knight of Flower stands, that's 17, and if this is a power icon, could be more than that, and then Ricasso goes slightly up as well. But if it's a perfect card here, this could be defended. And the agenda used. And that's a pretty good one, yes. Now that's going to take the... which one? Ricasso out of the challenge. He's calculated that he can still win even with House then Escort. I guess you don't want him back because he can do the military then. Okay, and that should be enough now. And the agenda will stand the King's Guards, which means I guess these two. But we're not done yet. Oh, here we go. The run's name gains gold, and we have plus strength, and it's plus 7 for someone, I think. And I don't think there are any more tricks. So sad day for Adam, he's going to lose this one. Power claim and renown. And then unopposed military as well. And dominance, that's 14. Is there any way to get additional renown? Doesn't seem like it. Tattered Prince stays on the board because he does have gold. So it would need to be some kind of strong reset that Adam plays next round, but with no cards in hand. It's tough to imagine what that could be that would be in his favor. It was a decent effort to defend with 17 and still not enough. It's pretty harsh. And no Morgulis obviously because Marjorie used here, so he needs to keep the board as big as possible. Give himself a chance next round it seems, but no way to get rid of Klitos. so he's not going to be going first. Hmm. A good job as well. So I'm just going for a big challenge. Everyone has renown pretty much. Means you can go from 6 to 15 or close to that. But yeah, here we go again. I've said it many times in the past. MVP Cletus Ironwood, because he lets you go first. That's the big one. And yeah, if Martell continues to dominate, I think this is one that really, even though he's kind of a doesn't look impressive, small character with just some passive text, he is the one that often wins games, and I would consider for sure putting him on the restricted list if Martell decks continue to do well, and we've seen them do well with 3 separate agendas with a pretty similar playstyle. So nicely done, yeah, for Robin. So he survives in the losers bracket and plays Alex next for a place in this final losers bracket game against the loser of this game from the winners bracket semifinals, so one of the Austrian players, Reinhard or Robert. And yeah, so this is actually, if I'm reading this correctly, it's going to be a repeat of this winners bracket first round game between Alex and Robin, which Alex won at the time. Don't remember it, but it is somewhere on this channel for sure, because I've recorded all of them and hopefully can record the others as well. So thanks for joining me on this one, and looking forward to the last few games. See you next time.